Happy Thursday, fifth grade. This is Miss Gibson coming to you with your math lesson for today. So, of course, you guys should have Thursday's lesson out, which is Unit 6, Lesson 20. Then you'll need your notes out to always go back and look at them to help you. Piece of paper to do your workout, pencil, and eraser. So, if you don't have all of these items out, go ahead and get them out right now. Awesome. All right. So for your problem solving test today, you're going to look at a few examples of student responses to simplifying an expression. You're going to find the errors and explain the mistakes, then solve it correctly. My advice to you right now is to solve the problem first so then you can see where and how these problems are incorrect and what mistakes these students were making in their responses. So how about you guys solve first, then after that go to each student response and write down some notes as to why certain aspects of their work are incorrect, find those errors and explain those errors. So go ahead and pause the video and get started on first doing this problem out. So it's the same across every student example. There's three. And then after that, look at student A, B, and C to figure out what was going on with their work and why it's incorrect. Go ahead and pause the video and get started. Awesome. Welcome back from trying out the work. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the correct work here. So I know that for my work, 25 minus 3 times 3 plus 15 times 2 in parentheses minus 4 plus 4 in nested parentheses. So I'm going to go step by step to get to my final answer. Now, my first step in this would be to go to where? Correct. I need to solve for this nested parentheses first. So I need to do 4 plus 4 first, which leads me to 8. So then in my parentheses, I have 15 times 2 minus 8. And then I'm bringing everything down because I can't do those yet until I am done with all of the work in the parentheses. Then I'm solving 15 times 2 first instead of 2 minus 8 because I know that my power of operations is proving to me that I should be doing multiplication and division over subtraction and over subtraction and addition first because of how the power of what they hold. So I'm doing 15 times 2 first equals 30 minus 8. Still bringing everything down, keeping my work organized. And then in parentheses, 30 minus 8. Then leads me to 30 minus 8, which is 22. And then everything else is being pulled down. So then now I'm solving from left to right, but making sure that if I have anything above powers, I should do those first, which in this case, I have to do 3 times 3 first, which equals 9, and then bringing everything else down, and then moving left to right because addition and subtraction have the same type of power when they're the only thing left in the row. So that leaves me from 25 minus 9 to 16 plus 22, which is my final answer of 38. Now, let's look at sample A and B to figure out how and why they didn't get to 38 as their answer and why their work doesn't look like my work too. So sample A, student A. For their first step, what did this person do? Correct. This person just did 25 minus 3. Then brought down to 3 again. Then the person did 22 times 3. So right now, as you can see, they're working from left to right. This is incorrect. So you should always be doing in parentheses first. If there's a nested parentheses, you need to do the nested parentheses first, then the outer parentheses. And then, of course, you should never do subtraction before multiplication, which is why this is incorrect. Okay. So realize that this person did left to right, didn't care about the order of operation powers, and didn't care about the parentheses. So this answer is entirely wrong. So you guys should always realize that you need to do everything from parentheses out, work your way out, and then based off of the power of operations, multiplication and division over addition and subtraction first. Student B. So let's see what they did first. So we have our setup here. So what do you guys notice about their first step? Yes, they did parentheses, but what did they do technically? Right, they didn't do the nested parentheses first, so they just looked at the parentheses and then started working from left to right, which is why they got 15 times 2 first instead of doing 4 plus 4 first. So, when you're in parentheses, you cannot just go left to right, especially if there's nested parentheses. You need to never ignore nested parentheses. So this is what they're doing wrong. Within parentheses, they just went from left to right and then they ignored the nested parentheses, which is why, again, their work is incorrect and it led them to the wrong answer. Okay, now let's look at student C. Student C got the right answer, but what do we notice about their work? Right. This work is completely unorganized. They are not showing the step by step for each number or what operation they're doing one at a time. So their work is all over the place, it's unorganized. They luckily got to the correct answer first, but that doesn't mean that you will always get to the correct answer by doing your work like this. You should do one step at a time, every single row, regardless if you have to repeat some numbers every single time, but it's best to do one step at a time for each row, just as this correct row is, and not just try and solve all over the place and then add them up together in the end. Don't do this. Okay? Now, that's done for the PST today. So realize we just did some error analysis. And of course, we did the problem out correctly first, making sure that we are choosing certain aspects of our work that we should be doing first before anything else. So now we're going to get into some notes for today, which is almost like a checklist of what you guys should be doing when you're doing error analysis and when you're simplifying all expressions anyway. So, your notes for today. You're going to run through this checklist whenever you're doing error analysis and solving expressions with multiple operations and, of course, the parentheses. So, one, parentheses. Inner parentheses if there are nested ones. So, you should always be doing the inner parentheses first and then working your way out, especially if there's nested parentheses, as in like one parentheses, one set of parentheses, and another set of parentheses, then multiplication and division, then addition, subtraction, left to right inside of parentheses. Number two, multiplication and division. They are more powerful than addition and subtraction, so this is always going to be first before addition and subtraction if it's there. We go left to right doing all multiplication and division before any addition and subtraction. All right. Lastly, number three, addition and subtraction. When everything else has been simplified, do addition and subtraction left to right. So realize the power of operations comes into play heavily because you should never be mixing it up and doing multiplication and then subtraction, then some more multiplication. You need to do all of the higher powers first, which is multiplication, division, and then do addition and subtraction left to right. And of course, whatever's in those parentheses and nested parentheses, you should always do first or look at first. Now, I want you guys to pause the video and, of course, write these notes down. Go ahead and pause the video and get started on that. All right, welcome back from doing your notes. You guys are now going to get started on the exit ticket for today. So make sure you are showing all of your work and make sure every single piece of work that you're going to do in in the practice packet, sorry, is lined up just like this. We want to see work all done out, showing every single step that you're doing, making sure you're following this checklist as you are simplifying all of your work for the practice packet. So go ahead and get started on that practice packet and then come back to the video. All right, welcome back from trying out the practice packet. We're going to go through each one of the problems and go step by step so you guys can understand why we are doing certain pieces first. And of course, those notes come into play as you're doing this. All right. So I'm technically gonna go like across so then I don't have to keep scrolling up and down. So I'm gonna go from like 1 to 4, 2 to 5, just as the work is written. So please make sure you're following along and looking at the correct numbers as because you may have written them down on your papers in a different format. So number one, 8 plus 3 plus 8 plus 90 divided by 3 in parentheses minus 6 plus 3. Now, what step am I doing first and why? Correct. I am doing 90 divided by 3 first because clearly we have to look at the parentheses first. And then division has a higher power than addition. So I need to do what's going on in my parentheses first and make sure that I'm doing that division or multiplication over the subtraction or addition. And then after that, working my way from there. So first step I did was do 90 divided by 3, which got me to 30. I still have left over in my parentheses 3 plus 8 plus 30. So then now I need to add those three numbers together, which lead me to 41. So now I have a line written now as 8 plus 41 minus 6 plus 3. Does it matter here if I do addition, or does it matter if I go from right to left or left to right or from the middle to outside for this next row? We are always looking from left to right after everything is done of higher power or parentheses. So realize I'm working from left to right when I'm going down to the next rows because only addition and subtraction are here. So I just did 8 plus 41, which leads me to 49, and then I'm filling in the rest of the row, which is minus 6 plus 3. 49 minus 6 is 43, plus 3 is 46. So this is my final answer. Let's look at number 4. I have 7 times 7 times 2 minus parentheses 6 divided by 6 plus 4, close the parentheses. So why did I decide to do 6 divided by 6 first instead of 6 plus 4? Correct. Again, that division is showing that higher power of operate in operations compared to addition. So I need to do 6 divided by 6 first, which leaves me to 1 plus 4 in the parentheses. So I'm carrying everything else down, making sure my work is neat and organized, and then I'm moving on from there. I'm solving for what's in the parentheses. So 1 plus 4 equals 5, bringing again everything down in the parentheses. Then I'm going to look at working from left to right, and then, of course, taking consideration of the power of operations. So I have multiplication here. So I know that I need to do 7 times 7, which leads me to 49 times 2 minus 5. I'm again going from left to right. 49 times 2 is 98. Minus 5, 93 is my final answer. All right, let's keep going. Let's look at number 2. So again, I am continuing to keep all of my work neat and organized. So 8 times parentheses 4 times 4 minus 6, close the parentheses, times 8 minus 2 minus 7. So what is my first step here? Absolutely. I'm doing 4 times 4 first from the parentheses because that multiplication has a higher power than the subtraction first. So that's going to lead me to have 16 minus 6 in my parentheses, and then I'm bringing everything down with it. I'm then solving for what's in my parentheses. So 16 minus 6 is 10. Now I have 8 times 10 times 8 minus 2 minus 7. Okay, now realize I still need to work on having those power of operations considered here and do everything that needs to be done if it's multiplication or division first prior to addition or subtraction. So now I'm working from left to right with my higher powers. So 8 times 10 is 80, bringing everything down times 8 minus 2 minus 7. I'm then doing 80 times 8, which leads me to 640 minus 2 minus 7, 638. So 640 minus 2 is 638. And then minus 7, which is 631. All right, let's look at number 5. So realize I have two sets of parentheses here. So I did the multiplication first for each one, but I'm still leaving those parentheses and following my work. So I know that 8 minus 2 times 2. So I did 2 times 2 first, which was the 4. So that's why I have 8 minus 4 in this set of parentheses plus 11 times 33, which is 33. 11 times 3, which is 11 to 33. Still kept a 2. So 33 times 2. So I'm still have two sets of parentheses, and I'm still going to solve for them as well, making sure that I don't cross multiply or anything here because I have to do separately the work and then add them together in the end. 8 minus 4, 4 plus 66, so 33 plus 2 equals 66. And then finally, 4 plus 66 equals 70. Okay, two more to go before you get into the exit ticket. So this one says 24 divided by 2 times 6 minus parentheses 3 times 4 minus 11. So what step should I be doing first, and why didn't I do 24 divided by 2 first? Exactly. You should always be looking at the parentheses first and doing what's in the parentheses first before you cater to anything else in that expression. So I did 3 times 4 first, which was 12, still carried down minus 11, and I brought everything else down in the numbers in the expression with me. Then I solved for 12 minus 11 here, which is 1. And then I brought everything down as well. Now I'm going to move from left to right to see which ones I should be doing first. Since I have division and multiplication, I'm just going to go left to right here first instead of doing 2 times 6 and then dividing it by 20 and then doing 24 divided by that. Because whenever they have the same amount of power, you guys should just move from left to right. So in this case, I'm doing 24 divided by 2, which gives me the 12, bringing down times 6 minus 1. 12 times 6 is 72. Minus 1 equals 71. All right, so that's for number 3. Secret code time. Your secret code for today is bottle. Make sure you're putting that in for your work. Now let's get into the very last one for today. I have 12 minus 10 plus 8 times parentheses 13 plus 14 minus parentheses 2 times 3. That's a nested parentheses and close. So which piece am I doing first, and why did I do 2 times 3 first as my first step? Exactly. So this is a nested parenthesis. So I know that this small parenthesis needs to be done first before I can do anything else within the outer parentheses. So that brings me down to 13 plus 14 minus 6, still bringing everything else down for my work. I still have my parentheses here, so I still need to continue to work through the parentheses to get rid of them and then again go to the row. So 13 plus 14 is 27 minus 6. And then bringing that down for 21, writing down everything else that we have here. So now I have 12 minus 10 plus 8 times 21. Realize how I'm going step by step. I'm continuing to write everything out. I'm keeping my work neat and organized. These are the steps you guys have to do in order to get to that correct answer. Now, next thing I need to do, should I be going from left to right for this row or no? Absolutely not, because I have a multiplication here operation that has more power than addition and subtraction. So I need to do 8 times 21 first before I do 12 minus 10. So 8 times 21 is 168. Now I have 12 minus 10 plus 168. So I'm just going from left to right here at this point. So 12 minus 10 is 2 plus 168 is 170. All right. So that is the work for today. As you're getting into that exit ticket, make sure you're trying this out on the side first and then going through the steps of trying to do error analysis with this so you can get to that right answer. So realize what you have to do for the exit ticket. Use your notes for today. We roll out this checklist. Make sure you're using this and it helps you. Okay. Make sure you're using the answers from the video and looking at how I'm going step by step and what we just did first and the explanations as to why. All right, so exit ticket, make sure you have a piece of paper, actually do the problem out on the side, going in order, keeping neat and organized work, and then figure out why there's going to be an error within the work that's given for this exit ticket. All right. So happy Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your day and hope you guys are still working hard during this quarantine. The school year's almost up. All right. Bye.